Today we're going to talk about imposter syndrome. I don't feel like what I have right now is something that I deserve. Fundamentally, that's what it is. Fundamentally, you think there must have been a mistake. Whatever position, whatever promotion, whatever reward I have had for XYZ is not something that should be mine. I don't think it should be. Or you may have these thoughts that turn around the concept of, if only they knew how I really am, if only they knew how lazy I am, if only they knew how I actually didn't understand anything with this project. So it's essentially taking an achievement that you've had or have, and a status that you are filling right now, a position that you have, a role that you have. So the current state of being in which you are, you don't believe should be yours rightfully. So essentially you feel like an imposter, the imposter syndrome, which is kind of taking something else that isn't yours and being that thing, right? Kind of like acting out somebody else's life and somebody else's success. And there's a lot of things that can be said about this syndrome. First of all, mainly, if you're not a douche, which, you know, some people are vain, some people are egotistic, so some people are just insanely confident, even if they don't necessarily have a reason to be, and that's okay. But for most people who are slightly insecure, slightly perfectionist, slightly, you know, shy, things like that, having the imposter syndrome is actually a really common thing. And thinking that whatever it is that you're doing, if you're in a class, say, and you're preparing for an exam, you'll have the tendency of thinking that everybody else in the class understands something and that you don't. Or that you're the only one that doesn't grasp everything and that everybody else does. Which is very unlikely most of the time. People that have access to something, right? Let's say you're in a class, you're in a certain master's degree. Everyone in that group that's been accepted into the master's degree has been evaluated by people who are paid to do this to see if they are worth a shot at giving them access to the said master's degree. So, imposter syndrome is yourself evaluating yourself as if you were a third party. But in fact, you don't need to have that because third parties will evaluate you. And sometimes it's good to trust what people say. Not always. Don't always take what people think of you for cash because that can be detrimental. But in some cases, when you're given a job, when you're you get a good grade in an exam, when you get promoted, when you, whatever, whenever you have an achievement, you can accept that. So here's the remedy to imposter syndrome. When you think that you are unfit or you're not as qualified as somebody else for the chance that you've been given, the number one thing to do is to believe the person who gave you that shot or the group who gave you that shot, yourself for giving you a shot. If you invest yourself, if you're paying for your own studies, you're giving yourself a shot to make it. You have to honor. That's the only thing you can do when somebody gives you a shot, whether that's you or someone else. Honor that shot like you mean it. Because not only are you probably qualified for this opportunity because you've been selected for it, but if you don't think that you're good enough, you're probably somebody who has high expectations of themselves. And if you're going to work hard to be worthy of the opportunity according to you, not according to the other person who already thinks you're worthy, but according to yourself with your high standards, you're not only going to be not an imposter, you're going to be crushing it at everything you do. Because once you put your mind to something, there's very little that the outside world can do to get in your way. And I'm serious. And another thing you need to remember is that you have value, even if you forget that you do sometimes, even if you doubt yourself, even if you have all these things aren't going well in this particular time, right? Nothing is permanent, right? The good, the bad, the in between, there is nothing that is permanent, but something that can be permanent, something that can be yours forever as long as you're here, is your mindset. And if you can fix your mindset, you can turn a lot of negatives into positives for yourself and learn from the mistakes and from the downfalls and all these things. And so I'm here to tell you that imposter syndrome is something that literally everybody has at some point, whether you admit it to yourself or not. Lots of people doubt themselves, doubt the fact that they deserve what they have. And I'm here to tell you that if you want to fix that feeling, just make sure that you're showing up as the person you think deserves this opportunity that you are lucky enough to have been given. And not only are you going to meet the expectations, but you're going to exceed them. And so that was my bit of wisdom for the day. I thought it'd been a while since I made one of these talky videos, but I thought it would be interesting. And yeah, I'm wearing a suit, but I'm also wearing like sweatpants. I was just wanting to do a LinkedIn picture. So you gotta do what you gotta do when you can't go to the office and get a picture taken. Anyway, let me know if this is helpful for you in any way, and drop any type of videos you would like to see, and I'll make them. Bye guys.